You're watching the Wrestling Nerd broadcast. Now here's your hosts, Tom, Nick, Ryan, and Dave. It's you, it's me, it's NRD. It's you, it's me, it's NRD. Uh-huh. Let's start the show.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. It is you, it is me, it is TND. The Wrestling Nerd Broadcast, episode 138. Thank you for joining us. Happy back to school season, everyone. I know my niece and nephew are starting their first day of school today. I don't know how it works in the rest of the world. So, if you went back last week or, last month, I don't know.
I think Florida's been back for like a month already.
You guys need some education, okay? just saying, well, horror stories out here down there.
As the great band The Beatles once said, we don't need no education.
And as the great band The Rolling Stones once said, we don't need no satisfaction. So,
as the great band Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory said, CM Punk sucks and ruins wrestling.
Oh my, okay, folks. So we're just gonna get right into it, folks. CM Punk is gone. He has been X'd out. He's been terminated by AEW. They terminated his contract on Friday, Thursday. I forget what day. But yeah, so CM Punk, Phil Brooks, legally, Chick Magnet Phil, has been fired, terminated, whatever you want to call it, by AEW. I will state this right off the bat. My opinion on Phil Brooks, CM Punk, and it is just that, my opinion, you're allowed to have yours. He is a great wrestler. He is great on the microphone. He invokes an emotion from you. And that is what you need to be great in wrestling. Sure. However, he comes off, and not just in the ring, this, from outside of a kayfabe standpoint, if you do not believe that CM Punk is the greatest wrestler or the greatest thing to ever happen in wrestling, you're wrong, and you can go fuck yourself. This is a real glass bottle. Cry me a river. But so I'll say this, though. The common denominator, again, this is all my opinion, with a little bit of fact sprinkled in there. The common denominator of so many problems that we've heard about, brawl out, brawl in, and now something happening with William Regal, amongst other things, people being banned. The common denominator has been CM Punk. Yep. Now, at the same time, you look at it from a perspective of, okay, and I'm not even going to go into the fact that, we've had people go like, oh, this was the 90s, The Undertaker and Stone Cold would take them in the locker room, they'd settle this out old school, and we'd be done next week, no problem. But I'm looking at this from 2023 eyes, because that's where we are now. It's very, I'm not happy with the way anything has been handled in all of this. Now, obviously, I'm wearing a Young Bucks shirt to make a joke with the whole CM Punk thing, because if you watch the latest episode of BT, Kenny Omega's like, oh, what is this I'm drinking? And it's Pepsi, like, tastes like motor oil. And then they show like they're having a pizza party with Coke. The drink, not the powder. Tony Khan wasn't there. But so I do, it's no secret I love the Young Bucks, one of my favorite tag teams. But if you put this in another perspective, if, say, where I work at my window and door company, and my bosses came into my office and just like out of nowhere got in my face and provoked a fight, that wouldn't be good. Now, granted, I work on a smaller end company. So let's go back to the Stop and Shop days, the grocery store days, where I worked in a union company. Little different there. If my bosses came into my office and just got in my face and caused a scuffle, they would not be in the position they're in anymore. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Young Bucks and Kenny have been stripped of EVP titles, sort of. Like back in after Brawl Out last year, I think they were kind of stripped of their EVP titles or some sort of responsibilities. But yeah, like if your boss came into your office and started a fight with you, there'd be a big issue. Yeah, we'd have an issue. Because they're wrestlers, like people forget that the Young Bucks and Kenny are high ups in this company. They're not just talent. I'm disappointed in how that was handled. I'm also, the way that Tony Khan came out before Collision to the live crowd and made his speech. And then I believe I didn't watch the speech that he gave before Collision, like to the live crowd, but I'm pretty sure it was for the most part the same sort of along those lines. To me, you could have handled that a lot better. You could have just put out a separate video, like that didn't need to be on that episode in a way. Like I feel like Tony Khan went out there and that was just like, okay, I'm really gonna rile up fans and whatnot, show them that yeah, I'm in charge. It could have been done something separate. At the same time, I must agree, like I felt like my life was in danger. I mean, yes, I think in a fist fight, CM Punk wins 99 times out of 50 in a fight against Tony Khan. But I don't think he would have killed him. I don't like Phil Brooks. I don't think he's that stupid where he would take Tony Khan's life. So I don't like the way they handled it that way. I think the press statement was good, but the whole time, like you could have just said, like, in all my years of going to wrestling shows and running wrestling shows, I never feared for my safety. Leave it at that and you're fine. Because if the statement is in fact true that Punk did lunge at Tony Khan, then yes, your safety is in danger. But at the same time,
I think that's just picking words poorly. I feel like that's what he meant.
Yes. But it doesn't help.
Correct.
But yeah, I'm not pleased with how the entire situation has been handled over the last year. As much of a CM Young Bucks elite guy that I am, I can still be disappointed in them and how they've handled it. I don't mind the jabs of how I said in BT they had Coke and Pepsi's disgusting, because that's just who they've been for the last 15 years or so on the indies or whatnot. They're little pricks. That's their characters, what they do. Yeah, it's a sad day. The funniest thing, though, that I did see of all of this is that Roman Reigns' entire title run has been longer than CM Punk's AEW career, which is kind of mind-boggling when you think of it. And before I let you guys take the floor, I was thrilled when CM Punk came back to AEW. You can see the reaction video of when he debuted on Rampage, how excited I was. And I was there at the first Grand Slam when he fought Will Hobbs, and the electricity that was there for his second match and his first match in New York in the Northeast in 7+ years. And then just slowly, it just kind of became an issue with he just came off, and not even in a heel mannerism the way MJF, like, oh, I'm the best wrestler in the world, baby, sort of heat thing. Like it just kind of his ego came out past his character.
Real to him, damn it. It's real to him.
And I get that, keep kayfabe alive, brother. I get that. But at the same time, this is why I miss being a 12-year-old watching wrestling, because, like, I wouldn't think of CM Punk as a bad guy because I don't know all of this backstage stuff and this headline stuff, I watched Hulk Hogan was this big idol of mine as a little kid. And I look back as an adult and I realized, man, I barely watched any Hulk Hogan in WWE because I got into it in 1992. He was out by June of 93. But because I rewatched WrestleMania 9 50 million times, I thought Hulkster was amazing. So, yeah, I mean, I ordered the Chicago style CM Punk brawler, and that could very well be his last figure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That thing's gonna go for a lot of money now.
I didn't order it, but
it's on the whatnot for Wrestling Tees tonight, I think.
Oh, really?
Tuesday night, I think. Yeah, they said Ryan said in the VIP group that there's a bunch of CM Punk autographs, figures, and brawlers.
Yep.
So they're gonna make a shit ton of money off of that.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, people are gonna pay stupid money for it, like stupid money for it.
I'll say this: the one thing, like people, like I've said this before on the show, there are very loyal fan bases in this world. Whether it be, you always hear about the Cowboy fans. This is our year. We're going to the Super Bowl.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, it's not 1996, folks. But I honestly think that CM Punk's, no pun intended, cult of fans are some of the most loyal, crazy mother effers out there. And I'm not saying that in a bad, I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just like, you want to start a fight with CM Punk, there's an army of people ready to throw.
A comparison is Taylor Swift fans, right? I honestly feel like it's gonna sound crazy. I feel like CM Punk is a Taylor Swift of pro wrestling when it comes to fan base, and I honestly they're both problematic.
I think she's nice. Is she?
I think she's nice. I think the way she gave the bonuses to the crew is great. I think that she is a very performative feminist, because she does attack other women a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Neither here nor there. There's issues I have with Taylor Swift. Carly Rae Jepsen's album is better than Taylor Swift's Midnights, and they came out on the same day. Carly Rae is on the rise again. She's dropped several albums since Call Me Maybe, and they're all better. It's incredible. But CM Punk's fans are very much like Taylor Swift fans, where their person can do no wrong. Can I just kind of go?
Yeah.
I'm a Young Bucks fan. I like the Young Bucks. I like Kenny. Kenny's one of my favorite wrestlers in the world. But they do wrong, and I am fine admitting that. I think my big issue with what's happened recently is keep it in the locker room.
Yep.
I don't need to know everything that goes on in the locker room. I don't need to know all the drama. I like that for a couple hours a week, I can sit down and watch TV and believe that the story in front of me is sincere and genuine. I don't need to know or care to know the backstage drama and controversy. I do like how All Elite Wrestling has been doing the media scrums. I think those have been phenomenal since they started them. I really enjoy that. I like AEW's Unrestricted Podcast because it does pull that curtain back a little bit, but it's never like airing grievances. I don't need to know that CM Punk doesn't get along with Jack Perry. I thought Jack Perry's little dig on All In was hysterical. It wasn't a big deal.
I genuinely didn't even realize it was a dig at Punk when it happened.
Most
I had no idea.
I didn't either until afterwards.
After they mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, I do remember like him saying he wanted to do a spot with Glass, but
and like it's silly that like CM Punk's older than me. I'm 35. CM Punk is certainly older than me.
He's 40 something.
Compose yourself like a goddamn adult. If you like, you don't need to have these outbursts like this that become detrimental to the event that like should never on paper have happened or succeeded. Like that,
by the way.
All In was very good. I don't think All In felt that special to where it warranted it. It was just a regular pay-per-view in front of a crazy large crowd. Yep. I think they could have done more with that. I really enjoyed watching All In. I don't have any real complaints other than I wanted a little bit more of a WrestleMania feel. I wanted the entrances to be bigger. I wanted to feel a little bit more special, and it didn't. But yeah, like a big takeaway was like all I'm reading now on Twitter is CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk, and I'm like, dude, just like, can you go one pay-per-view without causing drama? I agree with you, Dave. I think the way that the Bucks, the Elite, and Tony handled the first one was terrible. I disagree with you with Tony. I think Tony Khan did the right thing by coming out live in front of the crowd.
I think he always does before every show. I mean, every show I've been to, I'm pretty sure he's come out.
Yeah, you only go to the big shows, so you don't go to like regular.
I went to a regular Dynamite.
Okay. But I think it was the smart thing to do because they were in Chicago. Yep. I think if they were anywhere else, if they were in Colorado, it wouldn't have mattered as much. I think being in Chicago was the right thing to do. I think Tony is a man who is a huge fan of CM Punk.
Yeah.
I think Tony Khan is like super fan of CM Punk, and that's why CM Punk had a job after the first incident. That's why CM Punk had a job after all the other backstage bullshit that's come out. And I think Tony Khan legitimately did not want to fire one of his favorite wrestlers. I give him a lot of credit and I give him a level of respect for doing so. Something needed to happen. Do I think Jack Perry needed to be suspended? No, but I don't know what happened backstage. Based off of what happened on stage, it was words.
Yeah.
We get it. It's fine. I know words hurt, but like it's part of that business is digging on each other. And
Yes.
I don't think that was much of a big deal. You can watch any episode where we talk about CM Punk. I have never said I'm a CM Punk guy ever. I was excited when he debuted. I thought, oh, this is cool. This will be fun, and then I watched a couple matches. I'm like, oh, that's why I don't really care. I don't think he's a great wrestler. I think he's a fine wrestler, better than me, obviously. But I think he's very good, like you said, on the microphone, evoking emotion. And it's a shame because he could have done that. And he could have gone to the moon with that. And although I am very glad we're getting rid of the Real World's Championship. That was tacky as hell. That was NWO to a freaking T. Like, get over it. I was so done with that.
I don't. Speaking of the Real World Heavyweight Championship, so this is. I would assume that at some point we would have led to a match between MJF and CM Punk. At some point down the line, who is the real world? Because I find it interesting that CM Punk's been back since July-ish, maybe. But he never, MJF never said anything about it. And I'm like, okay, they're waiting. And that's one thing that I do love that AEW did. They wait. They do long-term storytelling well. I had said imagine I don't know if I mentioned this on the broadcast, but I said something along the lines of Adam Cole beats MJF at Wembley, Kenny Omega beats Adam Cole at Double or Nothing, and that's when you have let's settle this, who's the real world champion at All In Wembley too. But I agree with you that All In and All Out, I mean, I'll be honest, I watched Ups and Downs on What Culture, shout out Simon Miller, for All Out because I was DJing a wedding. But All In, like you said, it was missing something to make it special. Now, don't get me wrong, they had me hooked because the ROH tag titles were a fun thing to bookend the show.
Yep.
But at the same time, we were waiting for something to happen that didn't happen. And obviously, the main grievance that a lot of people had with the Better Than You Baby thing is and I've said this, it's obvious MJF's going to turn on Cole and then they'll be real enemies at All In, and it just never happened. You're like, is anything going to happen in this storyline? Really?
I didn't want that path. I want the will they, won't they for at least another 10 years.
Hall of Fame induction ceremony, boom.
That's where it happened.
That's where it happens, finally, at the WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony. But yeah.
I would like to hear what Nick thinks.
Yes, Nick, what did you think about all this? What did Owen think about all this? He's the one that we're trying to set an example.
Owen, he was pretty impartial. He cared more about the movie Cars, Lightning McQueen. But we watched a lot of that this weekend. But Tony Khan, this is what I'm going to come back to. And I feel like a lot of people forget this, is that Tony Khan is a wrestling fan. He's just a rich wrestling fan. He's not a wrestling. He's a promoter now and stuff, but he's only been doing this for how old is AEW? 3 years old? 2 years old?
4? 2019,
yeah. However, not doing it very long. And his company is very big. His company got very big very quick. So he's learning as he goes on this. So I feel like this whole thing is a lesson for Tony Khan, the CM Punk thing. You can never let anybody have this much power that they're saying who can enter buildings and exit buildings. The crazy thing is, I thought he said that Christopher Daniels couldn't come into isn't Christopher Daniels the head?
He's the head of talent relations.
how
I
are
believe.
you telling, like, and stuff? And I just feel like it's like, even like, I mean, you go back to like Cody. I feel like Cody was a learning experience for Tony Khan and stuff. And he's gonna mean Vince McMahon has what, 50 years head start on him with his company.
Like that's like me. Like if I
of 200.
Yeah. Like imagine if like if one of my like whoever our top sales rep for the month would like just told like the second in command of my office, like, no, you're not allowed here today. I sold so many windows. Get at like what? No, it's not how companies work, my dude.
Vince would let anybody in his whole entire company tell him who can come into an arena and who can't come into an arena. And I feel like at some point, and I feel like Tony Khan's starting to get it, that Tony Khan needs to take control of his company. Like maybe having wrestlers as EVPs isn't the right move. And at some point you need to be like, hey, I'm taking control of this whole entire thing, and y'all could just be like talent. I mean, I understand at the beginning he needed all these people because he didn't know anything about the wrestling business, and it was the thing. But I feel like at this point, like, do the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega really need to be EVPs still? Like, well, I mean,
that's what I said.
Like talent and
stuff. I think they were stripped of their powers. Like, I think they're just EVP in name alone. I don't think they have like much pull or as much pull. Yeah, it's just a bad look overall. And I know some people are like, "Oh, Punk could go back to WWE now," and I'm like, I don't think. I get it, because imagine number 30 hits and Cult of Personality goes on. It'd be a hell of a moment. Like, because I bet you. Well, no. I don't think he has enough friends there. I don't think it's going like. This isn't like the NBA where if LeBron James is a free agent, somebody's going to sign him, or like I'm trying to think of like who's a troubled sport. Okay, no, we can't talk about
Antonio Brown.
Yes, okay, let's talk about Antonio Brown. I was about to say Wilmer Flores, but I don't think we could really talk about him.
Antonio Brown would be good.
Like Antonio Brown. Okay, fine. He's using his last shot.
He's a football player, Tom. He catches the football and he scores the touchdown.
But I mean, like in their prime, to an extent, like it's not like he's so good. Like, okay, yeah, Antonio Brown is actually the perfect example. To probably in the same age range in terms of like where you are, but like. Antonio Brown has burned so many bridges. Literally pieced out in the middle of the game I was at. Took his jersey off. It's January 2nd in New Jersey.
Too cold.
And he took his jersey off and was like, I'm out of here.
Can't believe it.
Tom would never take his shirt off in any situation.
I would never.
But yeah, it's one of those like people thought he'd get with another team, and here we are on a new season and nothing.
I don't see him going back. Like maybe if Vince is back in control now, pretty much 100%. Now I don't see it happen. Maybe if Triple H was like the one still running it. But for everything I've heard, that Triple H is on his way out. He might be all elite pretty soon.
I could see it as like a one-off or whatnot, but like
once Shane McMahon comes back and takes control.
I'll say this:
if it happens, I'm giving away the vast majority of my collection for free. There's no, you get Harold and Gerald in the mix too. There's no freaking way. There is no way that WWE would take that risk just as a fuck you to AEW. Just as like a dig. There's no way, because it's too risky. CM Punk is too much of a wild card, of an egomaniac, a narcissist to even chance for a one-off.
I think he's done.
Honestly, that's one of my favorite memes I've seen. It's the Triple H memes like, hey, Punk, good to hear from you. How'd you like to come make Roman look strong at No Mercy?
He's done.
Let me ask you this. So
he's not going to New Japan because they have a relationship with AEW. The only way that he would come back is that there's some like mystery third company, like some guy out there that's like, I'm making a third alternative that's going to be like big too, because he's not going to go to some little company.
Wrestling Society X on MTV, baby.
He's not going to show up in the Tampery Armory at NWA. So he's not doing it.
I'll say this. So I had this thought, like, okay, so we're all kind of in agreement that nobody's re-signing it. But so my thought is this: the only thing I can kind of compare this situation to in a way is the end days of the Ultimate Warrior. Like when he came back. No. When he came back to WWE and then he went to WCW and it was just not good.
Yeah.
But then what, 15 years down the road, wounds and time healed everything, and he came back to WWE for the Hall of Fame induction. Do you think, not anytime soon, I'm talking 15, 20 years into the future, that WWE would induct CM Punk into the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Yeah. I don't. Again, I'm not a CM Punk guy. I've never been a CM Punk guy. I never did he do enough for WWE to be in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, I believe after Roman's current reign, then Brock Lesnar's reign of tyranny in
Okay, so he had the title for a long
he's
time.
had the third longest reign in the modern era, I believe.
Great. That means absolutely nothing to me. Is having a long title reign enough to get you into the Hall of Fame?
I mean, considering who they put in the Hall of Fame,
I would say
carries
he's a
in the
Hall
Hall
of
of
Famer.
Fame?
Yeah, I would say CM Punk's a Hall of Famer for sure.
I would say, yeah, I'd say CM
And
Punk.
I wouldn't write it off. I mean, if Bret Hart came back to the WWE,
If he's good enough to get,
stuff,
if you think he's a Hall of Fame quality person, I think then he'll be in. I don't see it.
I just never say never with wrestling because
very true.
Vince McMahon loves money.
The wildest thing is, and I looked at, so I'm preparing to list a bunch of PW Crate shirts for sale again, and I'm going to take their photos one out. And I had a Brian Pillman shirt, and I just thought to myself, what if this is a work? Could you imagine if this is a work? To get it'd be pretty wild. I doubt it, but I mean,
I think it's too. I don't think it is.
Nick, I have a question for you. Who's a more cluster F owner right now, Tony Khan or Dan Snyder?
I actually thought out the similarities of this, but
Why
no,
why do you ask me?
Do you know who Dan Snyder is?
Hell yeah, I know who Dan Snyder is.
He owns nothing. I mean, he might own something, but he doesn't own any sports teams anymore. So
I have no idea who Dan Snyder is.
we don't need to. That's a whole nother pod.
I mean, yikes. Dan Snyder is a character in one of the greatest episodes of South Park of all time.
Yeah, that's a great.
All right, well, back to.
I have a comment though about what Dave said. Something about the Ultimate. This is going back a little bit, but I can't let it go any farther. The Ultimate Warrior and WCW. Nobody liked that. What? You're not a fan of the OWN, the One Warrior Nation?
Oh man, yeah, no, wasn't.
Oh, come on now. I'm a fan of all 2000 WCW. You know, when it was dying, that was when I was the biggest fan of all of WCW. But we're getting off the subject here. Let's go back.
A good friend of mine was on WCW at that time.
Was his name Buff Bagwell?
His name is Buff Bagwell.
Oh, shout out to Buff.
I gotta find because I think I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, did you know that 28 years ago so for the record, we're recording this on September 4th. 28 years ago today, Monday Nitro debuted in the Mall of America.
Oh, Lex Luger.
Yo, there's a wrestling company, First Wrestling.
Yep.
I follow them on Twitter. They're doing a Nitro show in the Mall of America.
That's awesome.
Huge, big wrestle convention. I think Effie's going to be there. But I saw they posted something like some LGBTQ ally stuff, and I was like, yeah. And I just commented on it. Like, I don't know how they came up in my feed. I think Effie might have liked it. But like someone was in the crowd. It was just problematic. And they told them to leave. They're like, your presence is not safe for people. You got to go. Wow. And I read whatever the promoter or I don't even know who it was. Someone from that company had tweeted, and I responded to it. I'm like, yo, good on you. I have no idea who you are. You just made a fan. I'm going to follow, whatever. He's like, come to the show. And I'm like, I can't afford to. Granted, the Mall of America is on my bucket list. I love going to the mall.
Where is the Mall of America at?
Minnesota.
That's north of me, I think.
No shit, Nick.
I know everything is north.
It's west of me and north a little bit. It's northwest of me. But yeah, that's really funny. I didn't realize that it would be like an anniversary type thing of wrestling debuting. There's a moth in my basement.
Oh no.
I hate bugs. I don't realize it would be like a what's the thing? Anniversary of like Nitro. That's really cool. I should have figured that out when I saw it was called First Wrestling Nitro.
Speaking of anniversary shows, myself and the Magnificent Margaret are going to go to some wrestling this weekend. And you know what's this weekend? This Friday night in White Plains, New York, the very building that I graduated high school and college from, Victory Road with Impact Wrestling is on Friday night. And then Saturday night, they're going to film the 1000th episode of Impact Wrestling.
Oh, you going?
Which is, I'm going to both. It is wild. Can we just take a second to appreciate the fact that Impact Wrestling has hit 1,000 episodes? That's insane. Because how many times have I read back in like the early 2010s that they were dead in the water, that they ran out of money, like Panda Express was running out of money to give them. Billy Corgan ran out of money to give them. Dixie Carter ran out of money to give them. And they're going to hit 1,000 episodes. So congratulations to Impact Wrestling. I am a Savannah Evans guy, and I am excited to cheer my ass off for her this Friday and Saturday night.
That card is supposed to be stacked too. The 1,000.
There's going to be an Ultimate X match in one of them, and I'm like, I almost want to see one of those live.
But you know who else?
Hogan's going to be there.
Shark Boy is going to be there.
Yes, he is. Oh, baby.
So your job, Dave, is to get Shark Boy to not only do the entrance to the show, but he needs to tell his side of the story of when I was in the ocean. We need his side of the story. So
no, you've got to get him on the show to tell me who he is.
Yes,
Shark Boy. Mother effing Shark Boy.
So Hogan's going to be there. Randy Savage is going to be there. Kevin Nash is going to be there. Kirk Angle's going to be there.
I'm very excited for it.
But it is the return of the Dudley Boys or something.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait for that. Well, fortunately, my seats aren't too far from the bathroom, so I can go take a shit while that's going on. I'm just saying.
Robert Ray Dudley is just like CM Punk. He's got to give it a damn rest.
He really does. But you know what? At least he's not in locker rooms causing a trouble.
He's in locker. He's complaining about everything, but he's in locker rooms booking himself to go over as a 55-year-old man. Grow up.
Let's see. Yeah, this is going to be fun. This whole show is going to be dope. I'm just checking it out now. Episode 1000 is going to have Frankie Kazarian and Tracy Brooks versus Alicia Edwards and Eddie Edwards. The Dudleys tagging for the first time in 7 years against mystery opponents. Looks like there's going to be a massive women's tag match. Trinity, formerly Naomi in WWE. Jordan Gray's Awesome Kong, Gail Kim and a mystery opponent taking on Deonna Purrazzo, Giselle Shaw, Savannah Evans, Angelina Love, and a mystery opponent. And yeah, we're going to get Ultimate X at episode 1000. So I'm very excited for that. You know what else I'm excited for? Other than CM Punk not being in the news anymore, this Skinner Micro Brawler. And why am I excited about that? Because I've got some mail, everyone. So
my goodness, Dave got mail.
I figured it'd be fun to open this. I thought it'd be fun to open this, on the air, have some fun, show some positivity that we like figures. I got this from a seller. His name is Mabel Toys on Instagram. You can check him out. Near mint condition.
His arm's kind of wobbly.
Little wobbly, but you know what? For a 30-plus-year-old
you were making the action happen. I was just, jeez, Louise, David.
I know who Skinner is. Like, I remember Skinner, but I don't think I could really tell you one Skinner match
cannot either
that ever happened. I'm sure he fought people, and I remember him. I do remember him, but I think I might remember the action figure more than I actually remember him.
That's where I'm at.
But this thing is really cool. And then I've got one other figure that I need to unravel, and that is because I made a prediction on who I think the next.
Did you get it?
What's that?
You got it.
What? Oh, who I think the next Micro Brawler is going to be?
Yeah.
I believe the next Micro Brawler in the next crate is going to be this man, the Berserker. Soft goods, baby. This bad boy.
Soft goods look great.
It is mint condition on this bad boy.
Oh, we're not recording. Tell me how much you paid for it because I want that.
Does the action work?
I don't know
That's the
what
true
the
sign of-
action.
It's the true sign of Hasbro is that the actions work.
Oh, the action works. Trust me. But yeah, it's
Honestly,
clearly
I'll say
Hacksaw Jim Duggan's body, but this thing, like, there's no paint chips or anything. Well, minor paint chip in the foot, but like again, a 30-plus-year-old
Yeah.
figure.
And
Wow.
plus, you're getting it from the guy. Like, you're getting it from the right person. Mabel
Exactly.
Toys has a very
Again,
good
Berserker must have been a top guy, and whoever's kid Sphinx said that was, you know, he just thought never been
barely
back
working.
one time.
He was just going out to cut promos.
he
But
was
yeah,
the
so
Roman Reigns of his day.
he really was. But yeah, so check out Mabel Toys on Instagram. He's got literally, and even the Major Pod has endorsed him now. So go check him out on Instagram. He's got all these. And fair warning to all you Hasbro collectors. Last year, the way I got back into collecting Hasbros, he had a major blowout Black Friday sale. They're like, you had to be up at like 2 a.m. on Black Friday. Like, I remember like trying to sleep, and I'm like, nope, I've got to be up in case it's my turn. So he had all these crazy figures, like went from like $1 to $10 in the range. Like, I got the Undertaker near mint condition for $10. That's like a $40 figure. So it's pretty wild. So check out Maple Toys online. We'll see if the Berserker is the next Micro Brawler in next month's crate, or this month's crate, actually. CM Punk's gone. So unlike Punk, I've got work tomorrow morning. Again, hope everyone has a great day at school. Don't get stuck behind the school buses if you leave early in the morning like I do.
But make sure you actually stop for them.
Yes, make sure you stop for the school buses. Don't go around. Don't be a dick. Okay, your boss will understand. It's probably should be like international 10 minutes late to work day tomorrow. Like, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But yeah, so anybody else have anything they'd like to say?
Pee pee poo poo. Pee pee poo poo.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the last words that CM Punk said before jolting at Tony Khan. And that is when that man feared for his life. So that is going to do it for this episode of the Wrestling Nerd broadcast. Don't forget to, of course, please.
DDJ, congratulations on being a celebrity at All Out and making it on the BTE. Big shout out to DDJ of Shooting Shit Podcast. DDJ is the only person I know on that show, so therefore he's the only person I like on that show. Dennis Day Jr., we love you so much, and I'm proud of everything you've accomplished in the world of professional wrestling fandom. I think you're a really nice guy.
Handsome SOB, honestly.
Just like DDJ says, oh, thanks, guys. Tell your mother you love her. Mwah.
But yes, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Make sure you like the video, share with your friends. Of course, click the bell so you get notifications. I guess that's a big thing now on YouTube. Check us out on all the platforms, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast, WNRDB, ProWrestlingTees.com/the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast, and that's spelled Nerd, NRD, yeah. And Patreon.com/WNRDB, where you can support the show for as little as $1 a month. And again, please hit the subscribe button. Really helps. So until next time, on behalf of myself, DaveCTheVoice, the guy who got screwed it all in. We didn't even mention that. I got screwed it all in, and I will find out who edited that video.
Maybe you should pay your bills so your microphone works. And
my microphone does work. I got screwed, pal. Don't worry. I should be the king. My predictions were correct. I touched my Buff Bagwell card before going to war. So on behalf of myself, DaveCTheVoice, the future king of the nerds, the founding father, Mr. Nick Carpenter, and of course, Mr. His Royal Says Highness, Tom Sasso. Don't forget to tell your mother you love her every day because, like Kevin Durant said, Mom, you're the real MVP. Good night, everyone. God bless America.
I got new shampoo this week.